and happy Halloween! Got a fun spooky video for all today to celebrate this Halloween. And speaking of celebration, for the topic of this video, I want to look back on how cable networks back in the day celebrated Halloween. More specifically, how did they do their bumpers and breaks from the shows? I'll also mention a bit of the specials that they would show on the network this time of year that I fondly remember. So, we'll look back at Cartoon Network, the Disney Channel, and finally, Nickelodeon and how they celebrated the holiday. From the small beginnings in the modern era. Let's go on and talk about Cartoon Network first.
Just when you thought it was safe, Spooky Tunes continues on the Cartoon Network.
Cartoon Network. My favorite channel to watch back in the day. And man, they really went all out when it came to Halloween. The channel started back in 1993, and the first Halloween they had was a 24-hour marathon called Spooky Tunes, with Halloween-themed episodes of shows that they had airing at the time. Keep in mind, this was before they had their own original shows like the Powerpuff Girls and Johnny Bravo. So, it was mostly classic cartoons like the Flintstones and Bugs Bunny. And while they didn't have any original content at that time, their bumpers made it up for it with the personality. While simple, it got you excited for Halloween, showcasing the shows with a creepy narrator.
Tonight on the Cartoon Network, a Spooky Toon evening like nothing you've seen.
Then, for the in-betweens, you got a nice Cartoon Network-themed pumpkin and a narrator telling you not going anywhere as there are more spooky shows to be had. Honestly, just a fun time. And for a couple of years, while it took a while before they had original content, they always got creative with the bumpers, like having haunted houses and or spooky graveyards. Just an overall nice tone for Halloween. But then we get to the 2000s, and now having many Cartoon Network original shows, we see our first crossover for Halloween, with Cartoon Fridays. From 2000 to 2001, they had for the bumpers the characters from Dexter's Lab, Ed, Ed and Eddy, Powerpuff Girls, Cow and Chicken, Courage the Cowardly Dog, and Johnny Bravo all having a Halloween costume party. What? Why does Chicken wear the Johnny Bravo costume like he stole his skin? It's so uncomfortable. Everyone wears normal masks, why can't he? Also, while watching these clips, since we didn't see the shows in between, Gus wanted to say that if he saw this as a kid, he would have gone crazy, which, yeah, same. The Cartoon Friday theme is stuck in my head for all eternity.
Is that it?
No, that is not it.
But the bumpers go with a storyline leading to a mysterious person shutting off the power, only restoring it if they can join in on the fun. And it turns out to be Aquaman. Weird, but silly enough. I like these, but the bumpers would change as we go further along into the 2000s. Now, this is the era I grew up in, and while I don't remember them all, the ones I do are very special to me, like the Cartoon Network City bumpers, which were very fun around Halloween as they changed it to a spooky atmosphere, with the characters walking around the city in costumes doing good old-fashioned trick-or-treating. I will say from doing research, I didn't realize they had a live-action event during Halloween in 2003, but it was called Shocktober. The character bumpers were fun, but the live-action stuff was meh. There was also the new era, which was in the later 2000s. Well, this time had some good and bad. See and real. Why do they keep having live-action stuff for a channel called Cartoon Network? Anyway, the Halloween stuff was fun. Again with the creepy atmosphere, but this time with the nude characters. They'd have them as zombies, doing trick-or-treating, dressed up as creepy characters, as well as Cartoon Network characters interacting with one another. It was fun overall. And with that, I think the 2000s are my favorite when it comes to the bumpers. But now we're onto the 2010s, and yeah, you can start to notice a drop in quality during this time. It starts off okay, while it being simple, it still has some charm, and there looks to be a bit of effort of showing off the new Halloween episodes, but the further you go along, yeah, they dumb down the scariness of the bumpers. From just showing a guy wearing skeleton gloves to just flat art of the Halloween designs, it just feels sad. But what about the recent era? Is it any better? Kinda. I mean, the designs are more interesting, but that's just because they started doing something called Scootober. This is where they start showing all kinds of Scooby-Doo stuff like the shows and movies. And they have bumpers relating to this, which is fun, but it still feels like something's missing. I think it could be the nostalgia at this point making me miss the 2000s, but I feel like there was something special during that time that just is missing here. And speaking of the specials, there doesn't seem to be much as you go further along. Like, what happened to Scary Godmother 1 and 2? Casper's Scare School, The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy specials, or even just new episodes with Halloween themes, really. I think the Scooby-Doo thing is great, but it's always been part of Cartoon Network, but done just way better in the past. Like the Scooby-Doo Project, which is a parody of the Blair Witch Project. And my god, this special, / bumper was like fantastic, but the scariest thing I've ever seen. Like, I'm surprised how dark they got with this special. I mean, to be fair, it did come out in the late 90s, and they got away with a lot of the stuff at that time, which I love for reasons like this. But my point being is just like, it feels so empty now with the recent era. But what about the other channels? Maybe they were consistent with having good Halloween bumpers throughout the years? I guess that means we need to start looking at the Disney Channel next. So the Disney Channel started back in 1983, and for them, they started a bit similarly like Cartoon Network, with not having too much original content to show. But on October 1st, they had a special called A Disney Halloween. Riveting name, I know. The show consisted of a special opening with Michael Eisner, the CEO of Disney at the time, with costume versions of Mickey and Minnie, and with Goofy dressed as Eisner himself. They talk about Halloween, and introduce a special, which had some old shorts from Halloween Treat, and a different special called Disney Villains. So while this was simple, I can imagine it was a nice start for their first Halloween. The bumpers I unfortunately cannot find for this one special, as 1, they may not exist, or 2, they're just lost to time for now. But honestly, they didn't really get into the spirit of Halloween with the bumpers until 1986 with the Fantasy Film Festival. But from what I can tell, they were showing more things geared toward adults than kids at the time. The Disney Channel didn't really become known for kids until it seems like the 90s, which means the bumpers for Halloween only got interesting around the late 80s to early 90s, which honestly, I can't even say that's true because most of the 90s bumpers are lost, so, that's really unfortunate. But you know what era I can say was good? That's right, we're in the 2000s again, baby! This also means that Disney now has Disney Channel original shows. Once again, I may be biased, but this era was just so much fun with the bumpers. A good set of bumpers were the Ha Ha Halloween, with the ghost head named Hetty in 2003. They mostly consisted of tutorials of fun Halloween decorations, as well as some fun gags and jokes from Hetty. In 2004 was the Lunch Ladies giving out gross food to kids. The bumpers around this time were just so good and fun with the animations. And for a period of time, they had something called Hawktoberfest, which was the time where they were showing Halloween-based movies and episodes. They still do this to this day with Monstober. And speaking of Monstober, yeah, we're back in the 2010s, which unfortunately means things go downhill. Not as bad as Cartoon Network, as they put a little bit more effort, but not by really much. Actually, worse, it seems like they don't even really bother to change the style of their bumpers every year, like Cartoon Network at least did. I get that when you waste money, but why can't we have fun? And to top it all off, the further along you get to the 2010s to the 2020s, they go completely flat with the designs. I think I'm starting to notice a bit of a pattern here. I think that's what makes this so sad is that Disney really used to call all out this time of year with the specials as well. Classes like Halloween Town, My Babysitter's a Vampire, Nightmare Before Christmas, not having the argument of whether or not this is a Halloween or Christmas movie right now. Deal with it. And while not their movie, Hocus Pocus was shown a lot on the channel. They even redid Calling of the Monsters a few years ago. It's so sadly bland. Does this have to do with anything? No, it doesn't. But no one asked for a slow version of this song. I mean, at least they still show Halloween episodes for shows, which is a saving grace in some fashion, which I really can't say for Cartoon Network at the moment, which is unfortunate. I mean, I guess they care more about Halloween in general since they celebrated twice with Halloween in April / halfway to Halloween. So I guess there's bonus points for that. Still, that doesn't really save them from going bland, though. Man, I mean, maybe there's still a little bit of hope with Nickelodeon? I guess it's a good time to go on to the last channel that we'll be talking about for the video today. I think out of all the networks, this was the second most watched channel I would tune into. But that's no surprise given that it was the first channel to start out of all the 3 that we covered today. They started in 1979, and from what I can tell, they didn't really have much for their first Halloween. It seems it wasn't like about a year or 2 later that they started to actually celebrate the holiday. So for the first special that they had on Nick was Special Delivery, with the episodes Beware, Beware, My Beauty Fair, which was released on October 30th, 1981. A year after that, they had Today's Special, again, with Halloween, which aired October 1982. So while nothing super crazy, they at least had specials early on for their shows, which both Cartoon Network and Disney Channel didn't really have until later in their life cycles. The bumpers throughout the 80s and 90s were pretty cool, actually. Again, simple, but I think there were more details in some way than the others that we've seen. I think it helped that they knew what the channel's theme was early on and how they wanted to advertise for it. And since they were the first network for kids, they really lead into that with having kids in the bumpers almost talking directly at you. Like them dressed up for Halloween and wishing the viewer a happy Halloween. Little animated bumpers that draw the viewer in, and even giveaways with Nick or Treat, with giving out cash prizes and even going to Hollywood. Honestly, really engaging with the kids rather than just telling them to watch their shows. And of course, we get to the 2000s, and I couldn't find much. Yeah, you heard me right. I couldn't really find any bumpers from the 2000s for Halloween. I can't tell you how or why, but yeah. What's worse is I can't even remember any either. So even if I knew what to look for, I actually can't. This is weird, as I've had like the easiest time finding them from this time period, but for some reason for Nickelodeon, I can't now. What's weird is as we start the 2010s, the bumpers are actually pretty alright. One that was the most popular is Nicktoons Get Zombified, as for a period of time this was lost media until about 3 years ago. It's actually really unsettling and creeps me out quite a bit, especially the Mighty Beat one. But there was also these strange ones, and I'm not sure what they were called. They were nicely animated, but very strange and off-putting as well. They actually do stay decently consistent in later 2010s, with not dropping off much in quality, only here and there. Actually, around 2019 to 2020, they had these really cool animated ones with these monsters that would interact in fun ways, like watching romantic movies or bopping for apples. Hey, we made a full circle with Cartoon Network, having that as a bumper, weirdly enough. But what about the 2020s as a whole? I mean, I guess it depends where you're from. Last year was really boring, just like the others we saw. Bland fonts and animations with no effort into putting too much creativity into it. But the UK for this year, weird but unique at least. They have the sponge that's old dirty that shows cases in next show coming up. And at some point this towel that's a hippie. Very strange, but I give it creative points. I actually don't know if they're really doing anything new with specials, but from what I can tell, kind of. Seems mostly like Loud House and SpongeBob though, which unfortunately is what Nick is really known to be nowadays. SpongeBob did have some great specials in the past though, like Scaredy Pants and I Was a Teenage Gary. I don't know if this one really super counts, but when am I ever going to really bring this show up properly? Which is Avatar: The Last Airbender, Puppet Master, which to this day is so freaky to me in the stuff of nightmares. And a great episode all around. There was also My Sister is a Werewolf, which was pretty fun from what I can remember. I can't tell if they show this one still or not, but I hope so. But unfortunately, once again, we fall flat on the overall bumpers nowadays. I think it's the weird millennial look or whatever it's called, aka the flat design look, where they take designs and make them look as basic as possible because for a hot second in the 2010s it was cool, but now corporations have run into the ground. Thankfully, from what I can tell, this is mostly going away, so hopefully these corporations will catch up with the times and actually give us good designs again. But overall, I think Nick is the best for being as consistent as they could be here with the designs over the years. Like, yeah, they've fallen flat recently, but I think they took the longest to get there. I think Disney was technically the quickest to go, though I'm not surprised as they always follow trends a little too quickly. But at least Disney seems to still show specials for new shows, versus Nick and Cartoon Network have fallen for that one show that makes us money trap with Teen Titans Go and SpongeBob / The Loud House. It's actually sad how the mighty have fallen because of these stupid trends from the 2010s that corporations wanted to follow, all because they were trying to appeal to a crowd that mostly grew out of their shows anyway by the time they actually started to implement it. Hopefully, as I said, this will change soon, but at least we can look in the past and reminisce on the good times when there was a lot more care and effort put into the bumpers and specials. Though, to be honest, most of these cable networks are dying off anyway, and I think that is the true horror of this video.
Happy Halloween from Cartoon Network.
But with that, yeah, we're wrapping it up here. This was definitely an interesting video to do. I just kind of really wasn't sure what to do for Halloween for a bit, and I wasn't even really toying around whether or not I wanted to do a video. And then it just kind of hit me. I was like, yeah, there's like a certain aesthetic to, like, especially like I said, the 2000s a lot I mentioned in the video, where the bumpers were just very fun and interesting for this time of year. So this was really fun. Unfortunately, yeah, I also realized that the most recent times are kind of meh with the designs, unfortunately, but who knows if that'll change. Like I said, these cable networks are unfortunately dying, and it's just, they probably won't care too much about it, so who knows. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you liked it, like it. If you dislike it, dislike it. Comment below what's your thought. I also want to give a shout out. I know he's going to be like, don't do it, I don't want it, but I'm going to do it anyway. Shout out to Gus. He helped a lot with this video. I got a lot of my clips and helped a little editing for this video, so shout out to him. Anyway, he's gonna be like, why did you do this? But with that, yeah, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. So happy Halloween, and bye, guys.